Now it's time to hear from our keynote speaker, someone who I greatly admire, Margo Georgiadis, who is president of the Americas for Google. She will speak about the transformative power of technology, which helps our leaders spot emerging trends and then respond with informed and creative solutions. First, it's my pleasure to introduce John Tolva, who will tell us just a little bit about Margo and lead a discussion following her keynote. For the last 2.5 years, John has been the City of Chicago's Chief Technology Officer. He has taken Mayor Emanuel's commitment to technology and open data and turned it into a reality. Several weeks ago, the city released its first ever technology plan, which details how Chicago can realize its potential as a city where technology fuels opportunity, inclusion, engagement, and innovation for all. The goal? To accelerate economic growth, to build an educated workforce, to digitally engage communities, to improve government services, and to reduce costs, all through technology. Today is coincidentally John's last day as Chief Technology Officer. He may be leaving his position with the City of Chicago, but as he told Crain's, he's, quote, never going to stop being the biggest cheerleader for Chicago. MPC has worked really closely with John, and I can corroborate that his creativity and his dedication to the city and the region are commitments which will not wane, no matter his job title. Please join me in welcoming John and saluting him for a job very well done.
Thank you, MarySue. Thanks, everybody. It is true, for a few more hours at least, I'm Mayor Emanuel's Chief Technology Officer. But I will say that I knew and befriended and have been working with MPC since before that, when I was with IBM, and it's an organization that I greatly admire. So I was really excited when MPC asked me to be here today. It's true that over the last 2.5 years, I've had the pleasure of helping sort of define the plan and get initiatives going. I'm jealous of Commissioner Boone for winning the award today for her cultural plan. Maybe we'll be in the running next year. But you know, there's so many overlaps in the sort of urban design sphere and the issues that matter to you around next generation infrastructure, how that changes a region, about turning all of our communities into smart communities with digital literacy. This has as much of a lever on the complexion of the built environment as anything else. Of course, you know, what may be considered more mundane, but the sort of turning government into an efficient and effective machine through government, which I think, you know, something we'll hear about today from our keynote speaker. And of course, tech sector growth. You cannot spend a few weeks here without knowing just how vibrant our digital startup community is here, and we want to weave them into the sort of ethos of civic engagement that pervades this room. If you're going to do business here, you need to be engaged with the community. So, you know, there's been a lot written about smart cities, smarter cities. It's kind of a term du jour in the last couple of years. I know I've been part of it. Our ability as a region to be open and legible and interconnected, which are terms that you hear associated both with urban planning and with technology, has been radically accelerated by technology. How we use technology now and in the future will decide if we can meet or exceed the goals that the mayor has laid out for us. Without a doubt, a major contributor to this has been Google. Today, we are thrilled to welcome for our keynote Margo Georgiadis, President of Americas Operations at Google. Margo currently leads the company's North American and Latin American advertising, sales, and operations teams, which provide digital solutions to both Google's large and small clients. Previously, Margo was Vice President of Global Sales Operations with responsibility for driving Google's global sales operations and strategies, as well as leading the technology teams that enable the successful commercialization of Google products. Prior to that role, Margo was Chief Operating Officer of Groupon. And before that, she spent 5 years as Executive Vice President of Card Products and Chief Marketing Officer of Discover Financial Services. So there's some local connections here that we're very proud of. At Discover, she led radical turnaround of business performance and revitalized its rewards leadership with award-winning new products, customer experience, and marketing. Before then, Margo was a partner at McKinsey & Company for 15 years in London and Chicago, where she was a leader in marketing and retail practices and co-founded the customer acquisition and management and retail marketing practices. This extensive experience means that Margo has continually been at the forefront of how to best capture and utilize the speed and ease at which information is processed by both individuals and organizations and the effects of the world around us. With that, I'd like to welcome to the stage Margo Georgiadis.
So thank you, John, for that very warm welcome, and also another round of applause for Commissioner Boone for the amazing award, and to Andrew McKenna, who is a personal idol of mine. Since I was a young child, I've watched the incredible impact you've had on this community, both as a business leader and a civic leader, and it was one of the biggest reasons I was honored to be asked by MarySue, another good friend. Thank you, MarySue, for everything you do for our city as well, to be here today in front of you. So. Congratulations. I'll have to remember to say yes more often. But I have to admit, I live a pretty crazy life, so sometimes that's challenging. So I wanted to start, I think I have a clicker here somewhere, with something that symbolizes, I grew up in Chicago. So I'm a very much Chicagoan. I grew up in the North Shore. I went to New Trier. Sorry for anybody who went elsewhere in the northern suburb. And my kids have gone there too. And so I love this place. And I couldn't help but start with a photo because I am a huge Blackhawks fan. And my husband, Pete, you know that you're a really good Chicagoan when you convince a Greek to move from Europe to the US and learn to love Chicago and ice hockey. I don't think he'd ever seen a sheet of ice in his life until he married me. But we love this place, and I'm so proud of the fact that we won the Stanley Cup twice, and I'm really excited to see if we can do it again. And what's really great is when I'm on the road, because I travel a lot, I can always stay in touch with the Hawks. So if I'm in New York and they're playing, I can easily just look up. Are they playing tonight? Are there any tickets available? I can buy them right there. I can walk into the stadium. I can be part of the game. If I can't go to the game, I get minute-by-minute updates right on my phone on how they're doing every period. So if I'm in a boring dinner, I can kind of sneak to the bathroom and check it out. Try not to do that when I'm actually at the dinner. I know most people in this room are probably confessed, right? You can't get away from your phone. And then I really love all the local news, right? Which pundit thinks we can win again, right? And digital technology is so much a part of our lives. It's changing what we do and how we do it, and it keeps us connected with the people and the things that we love. So if all those things are coming together, what I wanted to talk to you about today is the fact that technology, don't focus on the technology, focus on it as an enabler to making our lives simpler and easier. And I want us to think about how could we reimagine almost single thing we do as a city and try to make Chicago just a little bit more magical. So where does that come from? For me, digital is the ultimate tool for democratization. Think about it. Everyone has equal access to information. Absolutely everyone has a voice. It doesn't matter what your point of view is, you have the opportunity to be heard and to share it. And we're unleashing incredible amounts of creativity because nobody stands between you and an audience. And when somebody puts out a piece of creativity, people get to decide if that's really a great song or a great video. And last is unleashing enormous economic activity. Think how many startups have been created. Chicago, as John said, has been a great hub for innovation in the technology space. And I don't think that's going to stop because what we've done is completely changed what distribution means. We've taken away barriers in terms of people being able to connect with their customers, business to business or business to consumer, and find whole new markets that they probably never could have connected with in the past. So I think there was never a more exciting time. And from a government perspective, since digital technology is about democracy, it's also about everyone. the ability to reach everyone, no matter what your need, your age, or your interest, in equivalent way. Because it's possible to be infinitely segmented as well as reach everyone. So when you think of the word magical, the first thing that springs to your mind might be Disney, right? So you'd say, why is she saying the word magical? We use this word a lot at Google. For us, it means surprisingly delightful. Something I would have never expected to be there. So if you take it in that spirit and you think, what could we do with digital technology to make Chicago even more magical? Think about it. The government is entwined in our daily lives. Everything we do, where we live, where we work, how we get there, where we get educated. It's everywhere a part of our lives. And digital is all about, as John said earlier, solving problems, making things more cost-effective, making them simpler and easier, just more seamless. And why is this such a big opportunity now? Let me share a few numbers. I'm from Google, I have to show numbers, right? 2.7 billion, that's the number of people that are on the internet today. And it's growing really, really fast. Half of them are women, half of them are in the developing world, and 80% of all people in Illinois are online now. It's becoming absolutely everyone. 2,800, now I have my geeky moment. Anybody here know what an exabyte is? I didn't think so. 1,000 to the 6th power is an exabyte. 2,800 exabytes of data are created every year. So why am I even bringing that up? Because it signifies the fact that virtually everything is online today. Think about it, books, music, right? Maps, anything you can think of, businesses, shopping, right? Banking, right? Anything you can think of that you really want that isn't online today. And I want to just put it in perspective. In 2006, there were 160 exabytes of data on every single hard drive in the world. Now we create 18 times that every year. So when you think about what's possible when the world's information is universally accessible and useful, it can become pretty magical. And that's why the next fact is happening. 5 hours and 16 minutes. That's the average time a US consumer spends online every single day. And last summer, for the first time ever, it passed how much time you spend on television, which is 4 hours and 30 minutes. Now that makes sense, right? When the world's information is online, you want to be online all the time because it's not about the technology. It's about how it connects you with everything you're trying to get done in your life and how it makes that simpler and easier. So I'll share my third number. Well, it looks like he'd already gave you the fourth one. Oh, the fourth one. Great. 20%. I brought up 20%. 20% is if you take the total amount of time that you look at media, 20% of all media, not just online media, all media that people look at every single day is on a mobile device. Does that surprise anybody? Mobile is becoming the #1 screen in all of our lives. And in many parts of the world, it will be the first screen that you're ever connected with, particularly in the developing world. In fact, before you ever go to a bank, you might actually exchange payments with somebody on a mobile device first. So we're living in a mobile-first world, increasingly. And I'll talk a little bit about what that means for us as leaders. So if you think about all the things I'm talking about, everyone's online, all information is online. We want to spend our lives online because it connects us. Not that, because online is becoming part of who we are, where we go with mobile. right? So it's not like we're all sitting in front of a computer screen every day, right? We take it with us. How many people in here would leave home without your phone? Without your smartphone, right? Not too many. I didn't see too many hands up. Because it's an inextricably part of our lives. So what does that mean? At Google, we talk about the fact that even though in the last 5 years, we've had more advances in computing power than in the previous 20, we're only 1% of the way to how technology can change our lives. That's the exciting part. So if you all felt it was a wild ride the last 5 years, saddle up, because we're just getting started. So let's talk about, I wanted to pose 3 challenges for different ways of thinking about things in this world that's increasingly driven by digital. The first thing we've got to accept is that we're going to move from a time where we think about reacting, and we're going to move to suggest and assist. What does that mean? If you think about it at Google, just using one of our own products, search. Right? You used to go to that search box and you used to go look for something. And you just wanted an answer. And now we don't think that's good enough. If you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you work, where you live, we can look at your calendar to understand a little bit about what you're doing. We can actually become a personal assistant. You don't have to ask a question because we already know what you're looking for. So let me actually share with you, what does that look like? Can I have the next slide, please? So this is a product we call Google Now. And it's an inextricable part of my personal life today. You can download it from the Google Play Store, and what it does when it connects into the things that are going on in your life, I travel a lot. It knows when I'm traveling, and it gives me my boarding pass automatically. It sees my calendar, and it has all the maps, right? So it knows if traffic's building up, and if I need to leave earlier than I expected. It reminds me, traffic's building up, you gotta go now if you wanna get to that meeting. It even knows when I'm traveling, right? Because I'm not near my home, and if I'm in a foreign country, it's gonna give me helpful information about cool places nearby to go and visit, or how to convert the currency, because I kind of want to know what that really costs in US dollars. So if you think about the next mile of technology, it's about the technology getting out of the way and it becoming much more just part of your life, seamless, just making it simpler and easier to do the things you want to do and stay connected with the people that you love. A huge cornerstone of the ability to do this is access to information. And I would advocate that our city needs to think about defaulting to open all of its data and its processes so that people can tap into that anywhere they are. Think about all the information that the government has. Transportation, information about our neighborhoods and where things are, about education and all those opportunities, events, jobs, right, you name it. It has a huge wealth of information that would be incredibly useful to what we're all doing every day. And cities are starting to make progress in this area and think about how to be much more useful. So I thought I'd share a few examples. In transportation, that's been one of the first places they've started. There's a great app called City Mapper that's used in New York and London. And what it does is it integrates across all the different transportation options as well as the traffic that's happening at any specific time, and it helps you get from point A to point B, no matter where you have to take a train, then a bus, right? Or whatever the mechanism is that you want to go, it gives you advice. And it puts it all together for you in one simple and easy place. 50,000 downloads, it's 4-star rated. It's a great app. Another great example is City Sourced. This is a way that citizens can help the government. This is a great app that was created. When you download it, if you see an issue, or say a running water main somewhere, you see graffiti in a place that needs to be removed. You notice that something needs a repair. There's an issue somewhere. You just take a picture of it, and it's automatically routed because it knows where you are, it immediately processes the image, and it sends it to the right city department. So it allows you to use all of the people in your community to help you make the government more efficient. So it can work both ways. And there's a lot we can learn from how people consume information on the web. Millions of people watch how-to videos every day. In fact, if you're trying to do almost anything, you'll find a how-to video for how to do it on YouTube. Try it. Even the most mundane tasks in my house, I've found someone who has a how-to video on how to do it. And my husband doesn't really like being a handyman, so it can come in really handy. So think about it. Are we taking all these things as a government that people need to know, right? About how to stay safe, about identity theft, right? About how our policing works, about all these different things. And are we making them simple and easy for people to learn? People love to watch videos. That makes it easy. And if it's entertaining, people will want to watch. The third piece in this mobily driven world, if we want to make our city more magical, is to think about the fact that we have a paradigm shift in how we do things. Mobile is about local and now. As I said earlier, it's about being a seamless part of people's lives. So what's a huge paradigm shift is that you have to start from being incredibly simple because you got a really small screen, right? So how do you help people get things done in a 2x3-inch screen? How do you break it down and make it as simple and easy as possible? Maybe just 1 or 2 steps. The other big paradigm shift is you think about going to them versus them coming to you. And if you fundamentally think about how most government things are set up, here's the building, come to us, right? Versus how do we put ourselves in the space when people are trying to get things done. So what might that look like? And I just sort of thought about a few things that would matter to me. I'm really interested in education, but I'm busy. And the school board covers a lot of topics, but there's 2 or 3 that I really care about. What if, when the school board was talking about a topic they knew I cared about, I got an automatic reminder a week ahead or a few days ahead, and it had attached to it all the background information that I needed to know. It automatically put a reminder on my calendar. And the night I'm driving home, it reminded me where the meeting is, what time it is, and if it's in a new place that I don't usually go to, how to get there, and any other information that might be relevant. I think a lot of us are really interested when we walk down the streets of our neighborhoods, what's that new store that's opening up? Or is that going to be a restaurant? Are they going to have a bar? Like, what's there? But it's not that easy to find that out, right? But what if you could walk up to it with your phone, and there was a barcode, and you could just put your phone on the barcode, and you could see that application, all the permits they've requested. What is this place? In 1 step. How easy is that? And there's so many of these examples. Maybe I'm going downtown on the weekend with my family, and I'm looking for directions, and I want to know where to park because I want to go to a couple museums. But I didn't actually happen to know that there was a huge parade that day. But it automatically tells me that. And it says, hey, by the way, there's a parade starting at this time. All these streets are going to be shut down. I recommend you either come at this time instead of that time, or you take a very different route. Right? How great is that? And there's absolutely no reason in today's world that we cannot provide that kind of helpful support to help our citizenry stay informed about what they care about and be where they are. The second big theme I wanted to talk about in terms of making our city much more magical is about creating conversations. Think about the web. It has spawned so many companies that are about conversation. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, G+, right? You name it, these are flourishing on the web. And it's changed how people think. They have an expectation of a two-way conversation. They want to be able to share, they want to be able to give their opinions and feedback, and they want to be able to do that in real time. And people expect that, not just, could I have the slides back? from their social interactions and with the businesses they do business with, but they expect the same with their governments. And this is a big paradigm shift, I think, in thinking. Yes, we create conversations, but we typically want to control them. But the web is about an open dialogue, a continuous dialogue. And I think it can be exciting if it's harnessed in the right way. I like this example from the White House a lot. Have the next slide, please. This is a We the People page. Has anybody ever been to We the People page? It's a place where you can actually go, anyone can go and submit a petition for something they want President Obama to care about. And then people go online and they vote for the things that they care about. And when something gets enough votes, President Obama knows it's really important, and they respond. And they have a formal way of doing that. And you see some very typical things you'd expect to about gun safety and things like that. And you also see some very fringe interests as well. But it gives everyone a voice. And then it lets people filter for the president what it is that they really care about. It's an amazing opportunity. Another one is beginning to be more personal as leaders. And I wanted to share with you a little clip from one of President Obama's hangouts with his constituents.
Biggest trends is making sure that we're creating fuel-efficient cars.
Mr. President, if it's all right with you, may I just introduce you to my children who are
let me see
sitting
'em.
just off camera? So come on over.
Hey guys!
Here, let Nate in too. Here.
Hey!
Hi.
How's it going?
What do you say?
Make sure to study hard in school and do what your mom tells you.
We'd just like to thank you for giving up a little bit of your time to let us all be a part of this Google interview.
This was great. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Jennifer, remember to send me that information.
I sure will.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So how fun is that? Huge opportunity to engage at a much more personal level with constituents. 26,000 people watched it live, and another 800,000 people watched it on YouTube afterwards. And these are just ways in which people can engage. Michelle Obama, the mayor of San Francisco, the Atlanta mayor, even the police department of Birmingham, Mass., did a whole police academy, 10 hangout sessions to teach people about policing and what they could do to make a difference. So there's a lot going on to engage in new and different ways. And what works on the web is different. It's about being in the moment, the zeitgeist of what people are talking about now. It's about tackling the tough issues in an honest and raw way, or it's just about having fun. Because sometimes when it's fun, it enables people to explore things that they might not have thought of. And governments are starting to take the lead of great brands into this space. They're creating conversations that were much harder to do in the past, like encouraging teens to have unwasted weekends. Australia did one that I think is real fun because my 13-year-old actually shared this video with me the first time, which really showed the power of sharing all the way across the globe. It's had 66 million views on YouTube. Remind you, 22 million people actually live in Australia. So it's really caught fire. And it's all about getting people to not go in front of the train tracks, right? Don't go around, don't do those. And it's a small piece of the clip. And there was also a game and an app that really drew people in and created a following.
Dress up like a moose during hunting season. Disturb a nest of wasps for no good reason. Stand on the edge of a train station platform. Drive around the boom gates at a level crossing. Run across the tracks between the platforms. They may not rhyme, but they're quite possibly the dumbest ways to die. The dumbest ways to die. The dumbest ways to die. So many dumb ways to die.
Be safe around trains. A message from Metro.
So I'm just trying to push the thinking a little bit. That reduced near train misses by 30% in a year. And so as we think about magical experiences, consumer expectations have shifted fundamentally. And it all starts with breaking down silos Examples like the Windy Grid in Chicago, where we started with the NATO summit, bringing together all of our data into one place to help our city understand all our geospatial information. And for me as a data geek, right, that is an amazing opportunity for us to really make a difference, make decisions faster, and not just make decisions about now, but use the historical data to predict smarter in the future. The second step related to not just bringing it together, but is to embed it in more magical end-to-end experiences. And we see a lot of this happening in banking, right? Taking a picture of your check and having it automatically deposited. Or when you go traveling, your ability to buy the ticket, get the boarding pass, reserve your seat, do all those things, even work with TSA to get through faster and get automatic notifications about your gate, when the plane's gonna land, right? All that information is now streamlined into your experience, but we're just getting started. So just imagine some of the city experiences that could be magically better. A friend of mine told me the story about his home renovation and how hard it was, and how he downloaded some information from the web, but it was all PDFs, and then he had to fill them out manually, and everything after that was walking back and forth, and he had to make 10 trips to town hall to get that done. Everything and every response from the town hall was in writing, by mail. And it took such a long time. And there's a big opportunity for us to make these things simpler and easier and everyone's life magical. Just think about small businesses. We've done a lot in our city to reduce the amount of licenses and permits. But there's so much more we could do, because we all know as small business owners, your time is money. It's hard to leave the office. What if we brought all those ideas to them? You could go to one simple place, say what kind of business you were, and after that, you were walked through automagically everything you need, and if you weren't sure, you could get on a hangout with somebody and have a conversation. Huge opportunity for us to use technology, what-ifs, to make Chicago more magical. The internet is the greatest tool for democracy ever invented, and there's a huge opportunity for governments to reimagine everything we do using these ubiquitous platforms. Larry Page at Google really encourages us to think 10x versus 10%, because when it's a really big idea, it encourages you to push beyond all the existing boundaries, because when you're only thinking about how to make something 10% better, it's so much easier to think about all the reasons why not, all the barriers in your way. But when it's a really big idea, the things that the Metropolitan Planning Council tries to go after, it really can make a huge difference and be worth working through it. So I wanted to play one last video.
Everyone else in the world is working on that next 10%. If you can be the one that delivers that 10 times improvement, you have a chance to really change things.
If you want cars to run at 50 miles per gallon, fine, you can retool your car a little bit. But if I tell you it has to run on a gallon of gas for 500 miles, you have to start over.
You need a lot of courage in this work, and you need a lot of persistence. Even if you don't really 100% believe it's possible, like you might think this might be possible, have the courage to try. That's how the greatest things have happened.
You don't spend your time being bothered that you can't teleport from here to Japan, because there's a part of you that thinks it's impossible. Moonshot thinking is choosing to be bothered by that.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Humanity's progress has been a series of amazing, audacious things, from the very small and personal up to the great, big, and grand. And we are a species of moonshots. And to me, that's like the really amazing, poetic, and inspirational thing.
So I leave you with a challenge to carry on the tradition of the MPC and keep going for moonshots. Because what I love about Chicago is that we're not afraid to take on the big issues and to think bold. We're known as a city that works, where business and government and our citizens can come together, and organizations like MPC can make an even bigger difference in making Chicago more magical. Thank you.